finish line. Here's her thought. I'm going down here where it's going to be in the money. You guys can stand there and talk amongst yourselves. In our mini rod class, we have 33 listed to come play. So that's going to be a big class here this afternoon. That, again, our mini rod class on the infield side. And then our Superstock Diesel 4x4 class, Ryan Funk and the Funkin' Movin' out of Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, will be your test hook. Great class there with about 12, a dozen of our Superstock Diesels. So that's what we've got lined up here on the infield side. We'll remind you, ladies and gentlemen, this event brought to you by some very important local folks here. Allied Co-op has a long and proud history of serving farmers in west central Wisconsin. With roots that date back to 1918, the co-op was formed when a group of farmers joined together to gain greater purchasing power and maximize potential for success for all farming operations. Allied Co-op takes their legacy very, very seriously. Let them show you the Allied difference. And again, our thanks to Allied Co-op, a long-time sponsor here at this, the 50th anniversary of the Budweiser Dairyland Super Nationals. Hey, fans, while you're in town, sure to tune in to the many radio stations Magnum Radio has to offer. Country, oldies, classic rock, just to name a few. Tune in soon. Magnum Radio welcomes pullers and new fans in attendance, and they've been a long-time partner of this, the Budweiser Dairyland Super Nationals. Again, great event coming up this afternoon. Big numbers here, and we'll have it all for you in just about 20 minutes or so as our track dressing continues here. Our sleds will make a trip very, very shortly. Looks like we've got vehicles staged and ready to fire. So again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Budweiser Dairyland Super Nationals. This is year number 50. You're going to want to get him here this afternoon. Before we get started, don't dally. The Tomah High School DECA Club has the 2025 Tomah T-shirts, also hats and pins and so much more. Over on the grandstand side, look for them, the Tomah High School DECA Club, again with your 2025 50th anniversary Budweiser Dairyland Super Nationals T-shirts.
Good morning. Good morning.
NTPA. So here's to the best season ever for the NTPA from all of us here at Steiner Tractor Parts. New parts for old tractors. And a proud sponsor of the NTPA.
Hey, NTPA Pulling fans, Greg Randall, Executive Director. I'm here with a special guest, Jeff Miller, Meat Toss Tires.
Besides the pulling tires, we make a full line of bag tires. And our sole purpose is really take everything we learn off the track and really apply it to your farming operation. We want to build some tires that are dependable, quality product, and have the performance levels where you don't have to worry about it.
Where can they find out more about Mitas?
Well, you can, of course, Google us on the web. Probably one of your best sources is to reach out to your local tire dealer.
Mitas getting traction with the NTPA in 2024. Jeff, we appreciate it. Looking forward to a lot of great things.
Thank you very much.
CM Pulling Tires continues to produce hundreds of champions throughout the U.S., Canada, and Europe. As a dealer of not only our own line of Mayhill tires, we provide Mitas, Pro Puller, Parks Puller, Kaiser, Real Wheels, and Midwest Wheels. Located in Reynolds, Indiana, Chad Mayhill and his crew work all year round to prove that they truly are a cut above the competition.
Just when you think you've seen it all, surprise! AP Productions has done it again with yet another mind-blowing DVD compilation of truck and tractor pulling gone bad. Wild Rides, Wrecks, and Fire Volume 9 is still every puller's worst nightmare. This DVD is non-stop explosive pulling action that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. Get your copy today of Wild Rides, Wrecks, and Fire Volume 9 at ntpapull.com or by calling 614-436-1761. Wild Rides, Wrecks, and Fire Volume 9 is so explosive it will melt your TV.
Stand up!
Your tractor, Kate?
Yep.
What's it do?
Everything.
Bale?
Can do.
Mow?
Can do.
Pull?
Can do.
Plow, harrow, dig, haul, and scoop?
Can do.
How about...
Can do.
What about...
Can do.
At Beck's, we stand up for things that matter most. Our faith, our independence, and helping farmers succeed. As the largest family-owned seed company in the U.S., we believe in the integrity of remaining an independent family-owned seed company. Since our founding in 1937, we have continued to produce quality products backed by a family of employees and dealers dedicated to serving American farmers. And that's something to be proud of. Beck's. Founded in faith, forged in America. For more information, visit BecksHybrids.com.
Wherever the road leads, Mac Trailer has what it takes to get you going. We bring you closer to your trailer and the support you need with more than 1.8 million square feet of manufacturing space across the nation. No matter where you go, you can easily connect with our trusted dealer network of more than 135 authorized dealers in the U.S. and Canada. Simply put, Mac Trailer is here for you. We've built our legacy. Now let's build yours.
Looking for a refreshing change? Say goodbye to sluggish performance and reach for the one that won't slow you down.
That's crisp.
Experience the force of clean, pure oil coursing through your engine. No matter what you drive, Wix Filters is the clear choice. Here's to filtration that works as hard as you do. Wix Premium Filters. Performance starts here.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Tomah's Recreation Park, where this afternoon we'll celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Dairyland Super Nationals. This is a big, big event. Our Clydesdale friends have getting ready to load up and go. They've got a very busy weekend, but what a night it was last night. And you have to love the Clydesdales, what it stands for, and the history that it has, as they, two of the Clydesdales and Tori, the young lady from St. Louis, were out having their morning stroll. What I thought was really nice was the handler, Tori, had seen some little kids out in front of a trailer, and so she just brought both horses over so the kids could meet them. The little boy wasn't really interested, but the little girl, you couldn't keep her from petting, you know, the nose and everything else, and she was very nice. So it's just a very special thing. The Clydesdales themselves, such a part of American history, and they were here in 1998. So they come back today for this, the 50th anniversary, and they really, really were a very special addition, especially when they take that time to allow the public to see those magnificent animals, and Gus and Bud, the Dalmatians.
Obviously, we had to have them.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But again, this afternoon, we've seen so many great performances here over the years. We'll kick things off with some great classes. Again, for many classes, they're kicking off their points tour here. Our first class will be kicking off the points tour. Actually, they're involved in their points tour, the Super Farm fans, but we'll get to all of that here as we get ready to kick things off. Our grooming is just going on right now on behalf of the National Tractor Pullers Association. We welcome you to Tomah for this 2025 event with over 100 events across the United States. The stars of truck and tractor pulling are here. All you have to do is look to the NTPA Shield. This event is brought to you by NTPA corporate partners, Case IH and Wix Filters, Beck's Hybrids and Hot Shot Secrets, Mac Trailer, the U.S. Army, and Enderley Fuel Injection, O'Reilly Auto Parts, Cowtails, and Mitas Tires. And by Unlimited 88, Sempico Lubricants, Ag Protect One, and especially the official fire extinguisher of the NTPA, that is Stop Fire. One quick thing for you, we've kind of switched gears a little bit at RFD TV. Our new sharing hours are 7:30 Eastern Time on Wednesday night. That's for NTPA Championship Pulling as we enter our 21st season later this year. NTPA Championship Pulling, of course, can be viewed several times during the week. Also, we've got brand new in the afternoons on RFD TV, previous shows of the NTPA Championship Pulling Circuit brought to you by Case IH. FullPull Entertainment, also a trailblazing force in the world of truck and tractor pulling. They're here. For more information about FullPull, to watch NTPA live streaming events, or to sign up for the free-to-play contest, visit them at FullPull.us. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we're happy to have you here. We're proud to be able to bring NTPA Pulling, the sanctioning body that was here from the very beginning. It's so great that we're here and gathered at Recreation Park. Some great things have happened during afternoons of pulling, and especially this Saturday afternoon when we get together and witness some great pulling activity. Big numbers here this afternoon, matter of fact, larger than tonight even. But, of course, some people have suffered some breakage and some damage as they have tried to reach their dream of winning at least a part or their share of Tomah glory here at the Budweiser Dairyland Super Nationals. Ladies and gentlemen, it's such a great opportunity. My name is Doc Riley. Joining us here also is Mr. Alan Washburn. Good morning, Alan.
Well, good morning, Doc, and it's good to be back once again. I do look forward to this time of year. Recreation Park has kind of a special place in my heart because I've been here for a number of years. You and I worked side by side for so many years, and we look forward to this opportunity to exchange stories and get caught up with what's going on.
Yes, indeed we do. It's an opportunity for pulling fans to come. I know that we've got pulling fans that have been here for 50 years. We've got staff that's been here for over the 50 years. And then we've got some new pulling fans that have just come in. So, again, we welcome everyone here. And our thanks to all the locals that support this event, the local businesses, local people. Always nice to see those yard signs out or something that says welcome pullers. So, again, a very special place. But we're not telling you anything you don't know as we all continue to make some very, very special memories right here at the Budweiser Dairyland Super Nationals.
We had the kids club the other day, and I think we had the largest number of kids that Rank Seeds comes in and puts on the kids club for us. They were kids all over the place, but they all got a chance to see the show last night. Hope they enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed having them here. And you're right, that's the way we cultivate new patrons to the sport. And you find out as they start visiting with the drivers and visiting with the crew people, all of a sudden you can see that spark of interest, and you go, okay, we've got them hooked. They're going to bring mom and dad, and they'll come back tonight.
Absolutely, and we're looking forward to tonight's session, but we're also looking forward to this afternoon. Miles Krieger joins us again this year, ladies and gentlemen. He'll be walking around, and, you can usually find him here in the winner's circle right in front of the Kenny Mac Tower. Miles, just your thoughts as we get set to kick things off.
Well, thanks, Doc and Alan. It's my 10th year here at Tomah, Wisconsin, so I get to celebrate an awesome anniversary. I get to be a part of this team, getting to be here for a fantastic event and get to do all of my work right here in front of the Kenny Mac Tower, a building, of course, that honors a legendary announcer who we all respected very much. So, obviously, 2 sessions in yesterday. Mother Nature took one from us, but she didn't win yesterday. And obviously, some great competition. And we'll see just kind of what things happen. And, if I were going to watch and talk a little bit deeper about classes that made me most excited last night, that light modified class that's getting ready to run over there on the grandstand side might have been my favorite from last night's session. And they were up and running and going 378 feet for a winner, and 4th place went 368. So if anything is similar, we're going to try to park them down there near the blue barrels on the big end of the track and hopefully declare a winner here a little bit later this afternoon. But certainly, folks, make sure you're drinking water. Make sure you're putting some sunscreen on as we have a sunny, shiny day right here in Tomah, Wisconsin.
As you look at the track being groomed right now, as we continue to sprinkle a little water on it, bringing up that staying hydrated, the track is the same thing. It needs a little bit of water on it to keep it in the competition shape. We rebuilt the tracks completely from yesterday. They were pretty well finished at 8:30 or 9 o'clock this morning. They were still putting the rollers out here and getting everything polished up and squared up. We make the passes with the sleds to make certain that they are set and ready to go. And once they get set and they give us the go-ahead from the starting line, we will be ready to rock and roll down the tracks here. The light supers, as Miles alluded to, we have 11 of them to run. It's going to be an interesting class. Considering last night they were running in the dark. It was the daylight that changed everything. We'll see if then they run today with a track that's going to be beautiful sunshine and consistent from one end to the other. We'll find out if that's all going to pay off as we get that brick track on the way. GMS Manufacturing and Machine sponsoring our light modified class, the first 11 in the classes down the track on the grandstand side. Total of 66 on the grandstand side today. So we are ready to go here in just a few minutes. Sled number 1 has finished up on the grandstand side. We'll come back over here to the infield and make our regulation passes with it. Many people always feel that it's frivolous to run the sled up and down the track, up and down the track, up and down the track before we even start. We are learning a couple of things. One, you want to make certain that everything is operational on the sled as it makes its way down the track. We can watch that as it comes down. Plus the fact that the grouser bars on the bottom side of the skid pan itself, that's the part that comes in contact with the track, will put us what we call a sled finish on the track. And you'll look behind the sled, you'll see that it's not as smooth as it was in front. Well, we need that because we need to level things out a little bit. That's why we'll run 3 times with the sled to give us the entire coverage of each and every track. Then we bring the scrapers and the rollers out, put everything back in competition shape, put a little bit of water with it at that point in time, and we'll be ready to go. But it is a necessary, well, it's actually in the rule book. You're supposed to run the sled 3 times before you operate down the track in competition.
And our sleds come to us from the Bauer Group out of Iowa, and they've got 3 of the big side sleds that are here. Always one on standby here at Tomah, but we will have both of these 2 sleds, plus the Iron Boy when we get set for a full class of mini rods here this afternoon. So the entire crew there at Bauer making sure that they've got sled settings and working with our National Tech Director, our Marvin Epperson, who's here, our head official, Dale Kwame, as well. So those guys are set. Flagmen are set. We'll be running both tracks here this afternoon. We didn't do that yesterday. We ran 4 classes here on the Busch Light or the pit side or infield side. So again, ladies and gentlemen, we'll put the finishing marks right there on that. I'd also like to take an opportunity to say thank you, and I hope you fans will do the same. You've got guys out here and ladies out here on scaffolding right now. We've got the live stream from FullPull.live that's going on here, so they're grabbing that information. And then also the folks from AP Productions are here, our RFD TV crew, and they also provide the feed for the scoreboard at the top end. So again, our thanks to all those folks here. They endure some pretty tough hours, but I got to tell you, just like everyone else that's here, they have a passion for it. They enjoy it, and times get a little long. Well, they just go to bed and then get up the next morning and lay the cable and make sure that everything's right and ready to go. And so we appreciate those folks here, both the hardworking men and women of FullPull.live and our RFD TV crew that's here as well. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just coming in the gates, you haven't missed anything. We're moments away from getting things started right here at the Budweiser Dairyland Super Nationals. Also, a very special welcome this afternoon for all of those folks, the previous winners that are here as well. If you win here at Tomah, it's one of those resume things that you can look back. You probably got the trophy proudly displayed someplace on your property. May not be in the house, maybe with all the rest of the trophies, as the wife said. You got a man cave, so take them out there. That could be quite the possibility. But again, we are very, very, just can't wait to get things rolling here. Our thanks to the Tomah Lions Club for all their assistance. Also the iDividers, the snowmobile club that's here. You know them better as the guys selling beer over here on the pit side. But they're all ready to go. They're excited, and many of those folks have been here for decades as well. So we go from just a quick reminder that we'll have our 50-50 raffle going on. If you've got questions about whether or not you won, you can go right over to, at the grandstand side, starting line end, you'll see the 2-story yellow building. That is the Don Courtbine office there. That's where the regular offices of the Tomah Tractor Pull are located. Plus, that's also your information and will call ticket window as well. So again, we'll be drawing those raffle numbers. We'll get them up here, and who knows, you might even walk away paying for your trip to Tomah right now. Maybe a little extra. That young lady last night that won, she had a little extra jingle in her pocket.
Yes, she did, and she was so excited.
She was so excited. I said, hey, I got a question for you. Yes. I go, do you know where to pick up the winnings? She's like, no. And I go, for $1,000, I'll tell you. And she goes, okay. She says, I'm going to get 3, so I might as well give you 1. I
there you go.
I didn't take it up on her. But,
okay. Well, that was nice of you.
Oh, yeah, I've got a kind heart below this gruff little exterior. We try to make it all work that way. You go back through here over the years, and everyone pulling towards that David Schreier VIP tower at that end of the building, the Don Courtbine office over there, the Schreier brothers entrance to the grandstands over there as well. Lots of things that go on. The Kenny Mack Tower here. Kenny Mack was one of those guys that traveled all over the United States to do pulling, and boy, did he have stories, plus the fact he just had a steel trap for a memory as well. So it's our pleasure to come from Kenny Mack, a longtime Sun Prairie-based announcer here in Wisconsin, as well as just all over, an NTPA Hall of Famer as well. We'll see some Hall of Famers here this afternoon. Actually, a couple of them are in the Hall of Fame but have come back to pulling, so we'll try to highlight that for you as the afternoon goes on. But everyone right now that's putting the fire suit on and getting ready to flip the shield down is thinking about one thing, getting as far as they can down the track, because that means they're going to have their own moment of Tomah glory. Don't forget also you can pick up a copy of Tomah Talk, which is a commemorative guide here for the 50th anniversary. They're on sale again underneath the grandstand at the other side. NTPA merchandise on both ends. We've got first aid throughout. I think we're just about all ready to go.
You talk about the merchandiser, that would be an excellent stop before we get started, because the first class that we have on the grandstand side, the light modifieds. Get your earplugs. If you had some from yesterday, hope you've left them in your pocket and you can still pull them out and use them. But if you didn't, merchandisers are going to be the place to go and get those, and we'll be ready to go as that is concerned.
Well, Chris Schreier's here. I guess we can get started. I have no idea what he's been doing all day. It's the first time I've seen him, you know. You just never know. Well, he's got to hug everybody now, and it's, you know.
Our sleds are set. They have made their regulation passes. We have a gentleman in the tower to join us getting things started here this afternoon. You've seen him on the track. You've heard him before. We'll bring him front and center once again. Mr. Steve Yagi, if you would please, sir. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you, guys, and welcome, everyone. Nice to see you all here, and thank you to our fair board here. This is awesome. They've been giving it 150% here. So can we just bow our heads and pray here for a minute? Dear Heavenly Father, we welcome you into our presence here today, and we thank you for the opportunity to share our need for speed and horsepower with our pulling family here in Tomah, Wisconsin today. And Lord, we pray that you would remain in our presence and bless every man, woman, and child here today with safety. Bless our awesome fans, our awesome sponsors. Bless our track workers that have been given it 24/7 here. And bless our pulling teams, our families, our pit crews, especially our drivers. Bless them with wisdom, good judgment, safety, and most of all, bless them and each and every one of us with respect for each other today. And Lord, before we get rolling, we need to pray for the heart and soul of this great land we call home. Lately, it seems like maybe we're a little off course, but we need you back in our lives. We need your power, your mercy, your love, and your grace. And may each of us get out of bed every morning and try and leave this world just a little bit better place than we found it. And Lord, finally, help us to restore respect in this country, respect for ourselves and each other, respect for our Christian values and our morals, respect for God, our flag, and our country, and our freedom and our liberty, and respect for the men and women that have been standing guard over it and us every second of every day. God bless the ones that have died for us. God bless the ones that still fight for us. God bless the men and women of our United States military, police forces, our fire departments, all of our first responders, everybody that gave us the privilege to be here, including you, Lord. We thank them for the privilege to pledge allegiance to our flag, the privilege to sing our national anthem today, and the privilege to live in the land of the free, the home of the brave. And Lord, may we always be one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States of America. God bless Tomah, Wisconsin, and God bless each and every one of you here today. All this in Jesus' name we prayed, and all God's children said,
Amen.
Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand? Gentlemen, please remove your hats. A voice we have heard here before joins us again this afternoon. Our national anthem, Mary Besser.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rock our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Mary. God bless America. Good to have the voice here to do it for us this afternoon. You know what that means, Doc? It's time to put some power to the track. It's time to make some noise.
We are live from Tomah, Wisconsin for the 50th annual Budweiser Dairyland Super Nationals here on Full Pull Live. I'm Dan Mayer, joined by Charles Post this afternoon. And Charles, session number 4. We got 135 hooks this afternoon. Are you ready?
I'm ready. It's going to be a marathon, and we've got a whole new situation, too. The sun has been out. The tracks are vastly different than anything anyone has experienced so far this weekend.
Well, we've also got a third member of our broadcast going to be down trackside, and we'll send it down to Jason Schultz.
All right, down here with Marvin Epperson, head tech director of the NTPA. Marvin, your guys' resilience and decision-making this weekend has been amazing so far with Thursday night. Friday afternoon decided not to run on this track. Thank you for that. Where are we at? Where's your head at? How are you feeling about the final day here in Tomah?
Well, luckily, finally the sun's out. You know, they've had 10 inches of rain here from Sunday to Thursday. Nothing we could do about Mother Nature. Yesterday dealt us a little bit of a curveball. Decided we couldn't use the grandstand side, but we backed up and punted. Everybody was good with it. The competitors understand it. We did the best for them and everything involved, and I think today is going to be 2 good sessions. We'll get everybody through here. We got about 128 hooks this afternoon, 137 tonight, and we're going to get every one of them down both tracks pretty good.
I like the choreography it takes for what you guys did in Farley and what you were able to do with everything else. It's been amazing. Are the guys getting burned out at all?
Well, not yet. I can tell you I'm getting a little tired, but I love tractor pulling. That's what keeps me coming here, and this morning I got back up, and here we go again.
Well, congratulations. Appreciate it. Back to you, Dan.
All right. Thanks, Jason Schultz. He'll be down there trackside this afternoon and talking to some of the competitors, some of the officials down there. So, Marvin says we're ready to roll here. We've got the super farms lined up over on the infield track, and then we'll have the light modifieds over here on the grandstand track here. So looks like we've got Jason Schultz down there with one of our mini competitors here this afternoon. We'll send it down to Jason.
Down here with Jeff Hurt in Tomah, Wisconsin. Jeff, how you feeling, boss?
Feeling good, looking good. Weather's awesome out here. Just hope we can make a nice pass on this track.
How many of your minis do you have here today, bud?
We have both minis here.
What did you have to do after Farley, Jeff?
We had to get both blocks repaired. The one torched the piston when that fuel line split. The other one was still had the deck burned up and that on it. Took it down there to Sassy and DSR, and they got.
Going. Good luck today.
Thanks, Jason. We're sure going to try.
Thanks, Jeff. Back to you, Dan.
All right, so we hear the rumble of our first modified coming to life down there, the 6,200-pound modified class here this afternoon. And, Charles, we saw an absolute show last night with these light modifieds.
They had that track figured out pretty darn well. Some towering passes came down through there, and our test puller tonight is going to be Mr. Wayne Sullivan, the Optima Batteries Kentuckian out of Warsaw, Kentucky. And he set up, as far as what we saw last night, as far to the right as that sled has been on that track.
Yeah, absolutely. So Wayne Sullivan, like you said, out of Warsaw, Kentucky, going to be our test puller here this afternoon. And a gentleman, we see his son Donnie out front, going to back him up. We'll see Donnie out a little bit later on here this afternoon with the two-wheel drive class they'll be running tonight. But Wayne last night finished up in that number 2 spot, had a great run over 370 feet with that Optima Battery-sponsored ride. And, of course, that Kentucky and that Massey Harris 444 hood out front and been on each and every one of his tractors over the years.
An icon for them. They had sold the chassis and lost the original. Were able to eventually buy it back and have the original hood reinstalled on this machine. Wayne sat there in the roll cage. It was an hour to go prior to the show. They were already up in the staging lanes, and he was just staring down that track trying to decide what he wanted to do. Well, Donnie, Steve Grouse, and the rest of the crew tended the machine.
So last year in the light modified class, Wayne finished up number 3, Grand National points, a 7-time winner at the National Farm Machinery Show. Going to get us started here this afternoon, Tomah. All right, that's what we want to see this afternoon, fans. Absolutely great run there. And when you get locked into a certain track, it's unbelievable. I know they pulled on the other track last night, but, you know, here in Tomah, that tractor has just run to perfection.
They put that Beck's Hybrids Leaders sign out there for him as a target, and he went sniffing for it. Got close. Jeff Martine, the Hustler Super Farm, going to start us off reaching 3 class here this weekend.
Well, you know, judging by both tracks here this afternoon, I'd say they got the settings pretty well right here this afternoon. We'll see what they think. But over here on the modified side, we get a distance of 3:36.06 to get us started. And Wayne has accepted that distance, and the official said we are good to go. So, light mod side, let's run.
Quite a difference in a contrast versus yesterday. Not spinning and down deep into the track, not leaving a whole bunch of dirt in front of the buckboard. In fact, on the other side for Jeff Martine, very little left behind. So it's a different story out there. Track has a firmness to it that had been absent yesterday after Mother Nature dealt us the hands that we've been played.
Yeah, so we'll take a look here. Speaking of Jeff Martine, here's his replay run here of our test puller in the Super Farm class this afternoon. 3:18 and 32 for Jeff. 3:18 and 32. We'll hear from trackside whether or not he will take that distance. Of course, test puller, the only one in the class that will have that option to take her turn down that run.
Incidental award for Jeff Martine, tallest smokestack of the entire weekend. He didn't cut that one down.
Once again, Dan Mayer joining you here with Charles Post this afternoon. And Charles, we've seen, you know, just an unbelievable amount of action this weekend. It's been excitement. The 50th anniversary, we lost the first session, but they've made up for it.
They absolutely have. The consistency across the board, the intensity that the competitors are delivering as well, they're taking it very seriously, and it's their season. Some classes, you only got so many hooks that you're going to get a chance to come out here and perform in this way, and they're just taking it very serious and trying to give maximum effort, and the frustration shows when sometimes it just doesn't go their way.
Well, you know, one thing about Tomah this year, we've got a lot of the classes that are kicking off their Grand National, you know, schedule.
Yes.
We've had, you know, we lost the Benson event, first event of the season. You know, that kicked off a lot of these classes that we see here this weekend. Usually they've got a month before they come to Tomah. Didn't happen this year.
It did not. It did not. So it backed into Hutchinson for a handful of the classes, and now we're here. Farley, great event. Tons of energy surrounding that, but no points paying. Now the point season is here.
Yes, everybody, those prestigious points. As we take a look here trackside is Miss Terry Feiss out of Lawrenceburg, Indiana, with the Feisty Farmer. Her and her husband Todd run a couple of these twin-engine modified tractors, and, you know, they've won multiple regional championships over the years. You know, they started off in Economods, and, you know, Terry kind of went through a two-wheel drive before she made her way to a multi-engine modified, and Todd right into the mods, and they've been quick learners.
They have been. Had a Mini at one time, too. That only lasted a couple of years as well, and they have been quick learners. By their own admission, they're not a big bucks up team. They make do with what they have, and boy, did they show themselves well. They acquitted themselves well yesterday. Both machines with good runs.
So right now we got a lead distance of 3:36.06. Wayne Sullivan, our number one hook in the class, leading the way with the Kentuckian.
You can see Terry pushing on that central pedal. That's just a brake, a trans brake for lack of a better term, but there is no transmission. It's just to get the reverser disengaged and slow down that drive shaft in case the clutches were dragging just a little bit from those two Hemis.
All right, looks like we've got the slack out of the chain, and Miss Terry will go to work here this afternoon. Lawrenceburg, Indiana, with her Feisty Farmer, just over the river from Cincinnati. All right, Terry Feiss. Beautiful run right there. As you see, just a little bit short of that lead distance out there. It looks like we'll go down to Jason Schultz with one of our excited fans down here trackside.
About 8:30. That a boy. I like that a lot. How long have you been in Tomah?
I've been in Tomah since I was a little kid. Been coming all the time with my dad. So
awesome. We're gonna let the super farm go.
All right, so we see over on the super farm side, we've got Mark Weber out of Arlington, Minnesota, with his International 1066, the 5 millionth. Talked about that last night, the 5 millionth design there on the International. As we'll first take a look here at Terry Feist's run at 3:15.42, so going to fall into that number 2 spot for Terry. And she has made some great runs early part of the season, some preseason events. One of those being the Sullivan Pull down there in Glencoe, Kentucky. Also the Pullers Championship event in Nashville, Illinois, where she picked up the big championship.
Limited cross members and the banner-style chassis underneath it. Same rotation on both the engines. Hike in the left front, as we'd expect to see out of that chassis it can run. Couldn't have really advised her to do anything different or better.
Have to get a little bargy. All right, we'll take a look here. Mark Weber's run at 3:37.77 over on the super farm side. And boy, he stretched out.
Yeah, he put one on him for sure and said, hey, come and get me, guys. The Arlington, Minnesota-based 5 millionth paint scheme 1066 goes number 1 over Jeff Martine.
And that's kind of surprising, you know. Jeff Martine, we've seen him out on the national circuit from time to time, and you know, that's the thing. These regional guys, they can come in and punch in the nose.
There's been instances over time, and it's still true, whether it's Region 3 or Region 2, there's eras where winning that regional title is arguably tougher than claiming the Grand National. Now, they don't run hard in the Grand National, but there's more hooks, and sometimes the schedule is against you on those regional tours, but the guys who are running them are the same guys with the same equipment, so it's tough. Chase Smith outclassed Greenwich, Ohio, another wedge frame machine, with a pair of Henleys on the nose, Mike Janis style injector hats, although I believe these are actually SSI. They're both companies are now producing that style of billet injector hat.
I talked to Chase this afternoon and was very pleased with his 5th place run last night in the competition. Only going to run a couple of the big Grand National hooks here for the light modified class. It looks to make it to Bowling Green in Canton, Ohio later in the season. But a very, run against these traveling pros, not a bad job at all. And he's looking for big things here this afternoon.
Have a mixture of tire selection in this class. You'll see the Mitas, you'll see the parts puller on a handful. The Feistes, I know, use the parts puller. I believe Chase might as well.
Yeah, kind of hard to see, but looks like we were shooting ducks on that right front engine there as he made his way down the track. What we mean by that, engine not firing, could be possibly ignition, could be a little bit fat.
Yeah, there was a hole that was not participating as it should have with the other 15 on board. Even backed up just a little bit. 288.41 throughout class. 288.41.
All right, so that will put Chase in that number 3 spot here after 3 tractors. So let's talk about the light mod class. A couple years back, they kind of retooled everything. They had the light unlimited class, and the guys kind of said, well, let's change things up. Actually, the class went on a hiatus for a year or so.
It did.
And they brought it back with the modified class. They come in at 6,200 pounds. Of course, that's a maximum weight in pulling. Pulling motorsport where weight is an advantage. And they'll weigh in at 6,200 pounds and just allow 2 engines on these machines.
They need a decision to make the engine specs come in alignment with the heavy mod, where a guy could bolt a 3rd engine on, and now you're able to double class a la the old days when 5, 7,200, 11.2, whatever, 95, level 2, whatever it was, you just bolt on more motors to go to the heavier class, and you didn't have to change a whole bunch within each power plant.
Oh, yeah. Well, Super Farm side, we got Kyle Larson. Not that Kyle Larson.
The other Kyle Larson.
Yes, we've got the Hot Wire, Mondovi, Wisconsin. Now, last night we saw Jeff doing the driving. Kyle gets the ride this afternoon, and he put it on him.
Absolutely. See the high torque leaderboard taking a little trip out there to where now the buckboard of the sled is located. That's our measuring point.
And we should mention High Torque, the sponsor for the Super Farms again for 2025. So, yeah, that impressive run here. We saw 337 and change from Mark Weber, and here Kyle Larson, 355 and 80. That track just going to keep getting better and better, it looks like.
Making a road come down through the center, and early question mark has to be just how much better will it get? Looks like 3 blocks in the sled, bias to the right side.
So let's talk a little bit about these Bauer sleds. So as they go down the road empty with no weights in them, about 24,000 pounds empty, then we'll add those 2,000-pound blocks or iron ingots, if you will, to them, and get to that, mark that you just talked about, every particular class. And, sometimes we'll see weights on the pan. It just depends on that particular class.
I believe it's actually 12, I think, full slots on the weight box itself, 10 each side, and then 2 more in the center. You'll see the cradles on the back corners of the skid pan. They can hold 1 each, and occasionally, depending on the class, they'll put one just free in the front in the buckboard for some quick early drawbar.
Yeah, help the guys, some of the small tire, get off the start line there as we see Donnie Bauer, the operator of that particular sled. Then we bounce it on over to the grandstand side. We see Chris Sprecher sitting up there, but Chris goes by Big. Yes. Sitting up there, and of course, the man behind the operation. We saw him down trackside. That was Vaughn Bauer, this Ironman purple sled. Now, they've changed the pivot point on these 2 sleds the last couple of years. Now, the pans on these 2 sleds a little bit longer. Not much, a couple inches longer.
Yep.
And it is really, it's thrown a lot of classes for a loop, and it's taken, especially like this late mod class, they struggled with these sleds early on.
But if last night was any indication of what we're seeing so far today, finally got it figured out. It's going well as Craig Sage comes out, the Ohio Express Junior machine out of Norwalk, Ohio. He's out here pulling with us in Tomah. There's a big race going on in his hometown this weekend, NHRA in town at Norwalk.
Absolutely, as we see Mr. SCS himself, Craig Sage. Different combination here for 2025. Kind of tested the waters last year on the Grand National Circuit from time to time. Good to see him on board here for the whole summer with us.
Inline stair step with a pair. He does occasionally bolt on a third one at the back for a heavy class. Doesn't do it a whole lot. Different engine mount design and a fairly flexible chassis. We saw that yesterday, how much it would twist side to side. You will see it through that here today.
And one thing about Craig, he likes to get after it. We will see that right away here. Had to hit the brake there. The Ohio Express Junior tractor and Craig Sage.
It was drifting on him, and he was just breathing on it. It wasn't a violent course correction, just breathing on that pedal, little by little, bring it back around. Was able to get a couple of touchdowns out of the front end to help bring it around on the steering as well. Didn't overcorrect, which is a mistake some drivers can make. 283 and 18 for Craig Sage was in number 4. After 4.
Yeah, we see that front end come up and kind of just pulled off here to the left-hand side. And he tried waiting. And, sometimes you can correct early, but, at that point right there where Craig really had to stand on it, bring it back around. And always will cost you in your distance there as we see 336.06 Wayne Sullivan's run, number 1 in the class. And a lot of times we see, afternoon hooks, how they say early numbers help you.
Yes.
We've, nowadays it seems like these tracks, they've got them figured out to where, we don't see the dust like we used to see years ago.
No, we don't.
They have really figured, all the big events throughout the summer have figured out, to get these tracks to run during the afternoon sun, and, they do a great job. Here we got last night's winner on the start line.
We do. Gary Shivink and the new Attitude Machine is up on the line out of Reedsburg, Wisconsin. been a national champion. A good running 66 IH here.
Yeah, we saw Kurt behind the wheel last night, picked up the big win. Now Gary says,
my
move
turn.
over. I'm taking over. So right now we got a big distance, 355.80. Kyle Larson, the hot wire, our current leader. 9,300-pound super farm class. Very competitive out on all the circuits. Oh, Charles, he drove it down to that right side.
He had his bullseye right there, that high torque leaderboard. He was going for it. He'll be about 5 feet short, I think.
Yeah, he just drove it. We'll see that on the replay. Drove it down to that right-hand side. He says, I know where I'm going here this afternoon. But looks like, unfortunately, a little bit short here for Gary.
He tried to play, these tracks, both of them are in the center between them is a couple inches higher than on the outside toward the grandstand each side. So he may have thought, hey, I can maybe run the downhill a little bit here and try to gain something.
Looks like he leaned on it. We had a little bit of oil out the side.
Yeah, he did.
So we'll get the distance in for Gary Schwenk here as the new Attitude, 348.79, good enough for number 2, 348.79. So early on in our Super Farm class over here on the infield side, light mods rolling on the grandstand side this afternoon. Beautiful Saturday afternoon here in Tomah, Wisconsin. Where would you rather be than right here?
Blue sunny skies, picturesque clouds overhead, and hot action out here on the racetrack as Johnny Payne and Limitless out of Ohio comes up to the track. Been very impressed with this young man and his composure in handling such a high horsepower machine. Natural, I suppose, because he grew up around it. But you don't just get out of your high school beater Toyota Corolla and into one of these and think the competency is going to be there. As it is for him.
Yeah, and, third generation puller, hard to believe that's another thing we're talking about, third generation pullers already,
Yeah, yes.
Makes you feel old.
Yes, I remember when Color of Money, their John Deere Super, debuted, showing my age again, Dan.
Exactly. Yeah, Granddad Dennis and Dad Brent. Yeah, we see Brent right there and going to get some final instructions here before he turns Johnny loose. And, of course, we saw Johnny late last year on the Grand National Circuit from time to time. Had a big Bowling Green. Came away with the championship down there.
Spend some time around this one. Look at this machine. GMS machine, of course, the sponsor for Light Modified again here in 2025. And then look at the craftsmanship and workmanship that goes in the machine. It is a partnership, though, with a team across the pond.
Johnny Payne, the Limitless, and this is going to be close. Now, Charles, you touched on that a little bit. This tractor came over from the Netherlands, the Boer family. It was kind of like a trade deal. One of the Glot tractors went over, had to be reskinned, went over, and this tractor came over, and just, some of the technology from over in the Netherlands, and had a lot of people when this tractor debuted, scratching like, wow, look what we got here.
Yeah, they did do that, and the Boer family works very hard at pushing the envelope. From the east side of the Atlantic, their mini rod designs have become popularized over here. Now making some waves here in the modifieds. 332.34 for Johnny Payne. Puts him number 2.
Yeah, as we see up on the replay there, we see the lead distance marker right there. As Johnny got off to that right side just a little bit.
There might hold Simon Hook, John Deere. He goes back to the middle, and not much doing for him on that run.
Now, we were talking yesterday, this tractor here kind of stepping up from the 466 class, and Vern moving into the Super Farm class. As we see some smoke here.
Lot of blow-by coming out the bottom. Didn't hear anything to indicate that he may have torqued a piston. It's not quite that bad. Could be just a little bit loose on the clearances.
So we see the hole shot here for Vern Meinholz. The on-hook John Deere. First look at a green one this afternoon. Our Super Farm class at 326 and 37. To be in the money, going to have to be right around that 350-foot mark here this afternoon.
That's what it's going to take. I don't think he's got an actual engine problem. It never really showed excessive blow-by during the run at any point. There was no drastic flashover. I think it just got hot. And it is hot outside. We have not said that this weekend. It is warm out there.
Yes, it's hot and humid, and the fans love it. It's soaking it up here this afternoon. I know the other day coming out of the hotel, I thought I was still back in New York. I walked out, and it was in the low 60s. Wow, this is...
Last night I wanted a jacket when we were finished for the night. But today will be a great day if you're here to work on your suntan. And if you're at home watching, you can do the same. Just take us on your mobile device outside and then enjoy the action.
So as we take a look here, Les Corporal out of Marion, Indiana, makes his way to the start line here with the Corporal Punishment Tractor. Once again, 2 blown-in injected Hemis. A former champion in this class back in 2023 in its infancy. Last year finished up number 5 in the Grand National points. And of course, when you talk Corporal, you got to talk modern machine.
For sure, the family business, making and building chassis and doing machining work too. There is modern machine and modern motorsports. One side is manufacturing for parts beyond even the motorsports industry, but the chassis work has been on the forefront, both in mini rod design, modifieds, and two-wheel drives as well. This tractor likes 2 motors. It seems better than 3. He's been able to double class, though, and go down well in both. Came out of there, others that came out of the Indiana Econo modified ranks and graduated up to a single blown and then up to this machine.
Yeah, Marion, Indiana, just northeast of the Indianapolis area. And it's been a hotbed for pullers over the years, that particular region. Of course, Scott Tedder and those world-famous Banner brothers up that way.
Can't forget the Busco gang either.
Oh, yeah, he likes this light class for sure. Great run there for Les Corporal. Now, we saw at the beginning of the season up in Hutchinson, Minnesota, had an issue with some tires, trying to get the right tire for that tractor, but that was the 3-engine setup. Here for the 2-engine setup, things looking really good here this afternoon.
Great, excellent pass. Balanced right. It's going to be right in there at a 330 and change. Not quite sure he caught Mr. Wayne, but he and Johnny Payne are going to be mixing this one up.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see what the laser tells us as we move on over here to the Super Farm side. We'll have Brandon Jacoby and that Black Stallion. Comes to us out of Granton, Wisconsin. So Granton, Wisconsin
might be the only case in action this weekend.
I'm going to say, yeah. All right, we're going to go down trackside with Les Corporal with Jason Schultz.
All right, fans down here with Les Corporal. Just finished the light mod hook. Moved into 3rd place at 3:30. How do you feel about your run, Les?
After yesterday, that was a heck of a run. I drove poorly in the mod class, and it didn't get the fuel turned all the way on. It was the motor last night, and we got to put it back together about 4 o'clock this morning. So, yeah, all considered, I'm pretty happy with that.
Congratulations. Thanks for all that you do for the sport. We hear modern quite a bit, but
yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you, Les. Back to you, Dan.
All right, so Les Corporal, number 3 spot, 330 and 23, 330 and 23. We knew it was going to be close.
For sure. It was right in there. Just a couple of taps down. Not a whole lot he could have been doing differently. Kind of interesting to see now if we're going to see a reversion to an outdoor afternoon style track where it backs up a little bit. Brandon Jacoby, the numbers in on Black Stallion, 329 and 86. Wheels up lap for him. And same question on the infield side. Had a few runs early where they were stretching it out. Now we've backed up for a couple.
Yeah, right down the center of the track there for Brandon Jacoby here in our Super Farm class. 9,300-pound class, 640 cubic inches, one single turbocharger. You see the Todd Feist tractor rolling out. Now those folks that are watching on the preview, the free preview on Facebook and YouTube, we are going to end that after this run here from Todd Feist and the Snow Farmer. You can go to FullPull.live to watch all the action here. We've got the rest of this session as well as we've got the session 5 coming up at 7 o'clock tonight. So if you are on the preview, we're going to end that after this run, but head on over to FullPull Live and you can subscribe and check out all the action. We have just kicked it off here this weekend. The summer season is underway.
Well over 100 hooks here this afternoon. We hope you slide over there and join us as we bring up Todd Feist, the team tractor, Snow Farmer here in GMS Machine Light Modify.
And of course, the Snow Farmer signifying their business that they have sold since, kind of in retirement now. The Perfect North Slopes over there in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, the ski slope. Well, I'm going to say the ride back to Lawrenceburg is going to be a good one here for the Feist family. 2 really good runs here. We saw 2 good runs last night for him. Well satisfied.
He's going to be pleased with how the tractor performed, except for anger at one pull.
Yes.
He was down one cylinder, and he was sniffing that back leader board.
Yeah, that left bank, we saw that back cylinder there. We see it up on the replay. Not firing for him at 324.04, but good enough for the number 4 spot. And like I say, 2 real good runs for those tractors. And, there was a point last year where Todd was so frustrated at Bowling Green, that second session, he parked the tractor. He scratched it. He says, we'll not go back out there, but... All right, our second deer this afternoon on the Super Farm side is we've got Mike Wegner, the Power Up tractor. Sparta, Wisconsin, of course, the Linehan family for so many years, the Sparta area. Patriarchs here at the pull in Tomah.
Linehans were around at the beginning, the birth of Super Farm.